Top story: a month before Effingham County libraries officially leave the Live Oak system, patrons are seeing shorter hours and fewer staff members at local branches.
The changes have raised questions about what the transition will mean for library services. WSAV's Isabella Baez spoke with county leaders about what's happening now and what patrons can expect when the switch is complete.
Tina, everything that is happening now is said to just be a little bit of growing pains, and operations will be back to normal in just under a month. However, I spoke to the Effingham County assistant manager who is clearing up the rumors regarding the loss of books and services.
Rough patch there, but I think everything's really on a positive note now and really moving forward.
As Effingham County libraries continue preparing for their July 1st transition to the Statesboro Regional Library System, some patrons say they have noticed shorter hours and fewer staff members at local branches. Michael King, the Effingham County assistant manager, tells WSAV those changes are temporary.
They went from a full day to only a half day of operations. And my understanding is that part of that, they started moving their employees out of our libraries.
The transition stems from a decision made last year when the Effingham County Board of Commissioners unanimously recommended a withdrawal from the Live Oak library system, leaving the final decision to the library board. Despite concerns raised by the community, library leaders chose to withdraw and join the Statesboro Regional Library System instead.
They noticed that, each year looking back, how it just kept getting more and more expensive, and it seemed to be growing in the administrative overhead versus actual library services.
One of the biggest concerns raised by patrons have been the possibility of losing access to books and other materials. County officials say that won't happen.
We have roughly 13% of the regional collection in our two libraries. We automatically retain a little over 10% of that. And so the difference we will purchase from Live Oak.
King says he's been receiving positive feedback about the transition since most of the miscommunications were cleared up.
Being able to evaluate what resources or additional services that we'll be able to provide and cater for the citizens here in Effingham County that maybe we weren't doing before.
The full switch and return to normal operations will be on July 1st, and patrons can pick up their new library card on that date. They're also slated to kick off their summer reading event in Springfield this Saturday. Isabella Baez, WSAV News 3 on your side.
Isabella, thank you. New tonight, 4 men indicted in connection with a violent armed robbery in Daffin Park, a case authorities say is tied to a local street gang. According to officials, the case stems from an armed robbery and aggravated assault in Daffin on August 30th of last year. Investigators say the men are members of the Carver Village Thoroughbreds, a hybrid street gang tied to Savannah's Carver Village neighborhood. Prosecutors allege the group targeted a rival gang member in an effort to boost status within the organization. The suspects also face multiple gang-related charges and firearm violations. All 4 are now facing felony charges.
It was a busy night for Chatham County Police, with officers making arrests in 3 separate incidents involving a road rage confrontation, an alleged armed robbery, and a drug investigation. First, police say a road rage incident at the intersection of Quaco Road and Ogeechee Road led to the arrest of 38-year-old Sean Peppel. 3 victims told officers the suspect pulled a gun on them during the confrontation. Peppel was arrested and charged with aggravated assault. No injuries were reported. In a separate case, detectives responded to the 300 block of Bridgewater Drive after a man reported being robbed at gunpoint. Police arrested 21-year-old Keyshawn Leggett, seen here, the son of Savannah Alderman Dietrich Leggett, and 21-year-old Chakyle Robinson, charged with armed robbery, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm or knife during the commission of a crime. And a trespassing complaint at the shops of Savannah on Gateway Boulevard resulted in a drug arrest for fentanyl. 36-year-old Isaac Williams was arrested and charged with possession of a Schedule II controlled substance. All 4 suspects were booked into the Chatham County Detention Center.
We're taking you to Burke County now, where a tragic accident last month claimed 3 lives. Authorities say a tree fell across Highway 56, killing 2 Swainsboro High School graduates and the father of one of them. WSAV's Dakaya Harris spoke with a family member about how they're coping.
And I just dropped to my knees because because that's all I got left.
Just 2 days before that call, James Walker and his son, 18-year-old Conchero, were celebrating a major milestone, high school graduation. A moment filled with pride and what the family believed was the start of a new chapter.
Everybody was excited because my mom's death was very hard on the family. You know, losing your mom when you're very young, you would think that he would have went a different route, but he did everything he said he was going to do.
For Jadaisha Williams, that call changed everything. James and Conchero killed after a tree fell on the car they were in.
I did not expect to hear any bad news because my brother just graduated high school Thursday. I went to go see him Friday, and then he died the next day.
She says her stepfather and little brother were the kind of people who brought light to those around them.
Very, very, very sweet people. My stepfather took in a lot of kids. He was like a father figure to a lot of kids. My little brother kind of hid him from the world because I didn't want the world to hurt him.
Now, Williams tells me the hardest part is navigating life without them while holding on to the memories they built as a family.
When I came Friday, I would have stayed longer, and that I loved them with all my heart.
Nakaya Harris, WSAV News 3, on your side.
Thousands of crimes are reported online each year, and now a new bipartisan law is aimed at protecting children by requiring websites and social media platforms to report suspected trafficking. The law, known as the Report Act, was introduced in part by Georgia U.S. Senator John Ossoff. Chief Legal Officer Iota Soares says the law is needed as online threats continue to evolve. She says before the law, companies were required to report some crimes like a child sex abuse material, but not always trafficking or online enticement. Since the law took effect, she says reports have increased sharply, and it also requires companies to preserve evidence longer.
Who is the child? Where is the child? Who might be, actually trafficking them? What state are they in? Especially for these types of victims online, they move a lot across the country, and be able to get those leads out to law enforcement so that law enforcement can go to a hotel, go to a residence, and actually, know because it's been reported how many, children might be there, might be controlled by a trafficker.
The law also increases fines for companies that fail to report known abuse on their platforms.
New tonight, after more than an hour of discussion, the Savannah-Chatham County School Board did not vote on a tentative budget or millage rate. Superintendent Dr. Denise Watts said the proposal is missing key information, including the tax digest, and said that she would be uncomfortable adopting a budget without a clearer picture of expenditures. Board President Roger Moss said he couldn't provide details on possible cuts or a millage rate increase due to the lack of information, but said he was satisfied with the board's decision to wait.
Absolutely. You only make decisions about budget when you have all of the information.
Moss says they will revisit the tentative budget and millage rate once they receive the needed information, and the budget must be voted on by June 30th.
You may notice gas prices soaring over the next few days. That is because Governor Kemp's gas tax suspension has expired. People and businesses that rely on fuel daily could feel a pinch at the pump. The suspension saved drivers 33 cents on regular gas and 37 cents per gallon on diesel. Zach Gilstrap is a president of College Hunks Hauling Junk and Moving Coastal Georgia. He says they've spent an additional $20,000 on diesel fuel since prices began climbing. He says they run 10 moving trucks locally, and they're having to fill up most of them every day. Now they're planning ahead for another price jump.
As a business owner, it puts us in the mindset of we need to think 6 months, 1 year down the line of whether a mixed fleet or different jump-off points or a different scheduling is gonna have to be, a larger part of our business.
Officials with AAA tell WSAV drivers can expect gas prices to soar to an average of $4.20 in Georgia in the next few weeks.